So welcome to our first Global Network webinar in this year. My name is Alexander Loschke, and I will be moderating this webinar today together with my colleague Panya Yu. We have with us Angelica Lo Duca from the Institute of Informatics and Telematics of the National Research Council of Italy, who will speak about redefining data storytelling with AI. So communicating insights effectively is the key to drive change with data. Data storytelling takes it further, turning reports and dashboards into powerful narratives that inform, persuade, and inspire action. Angelica will explore how artificial intelligence can revolutionize storytelling by transforming raw data into compelling, actionable insights faster than ever before. During her presentation, Angelica will start by unpacking the fundamentals of data storytelling, including defining the story's objective and understanding the audience. From there, she will dive into how AI can personalize insights, adapt narratives to different contexts, and enhance storytelling impact. So let me now introduce our speakers. So Angelica is a researcher at the Institute of Informatics and Telematics of the National Research Council of Italy. She is also an adjunct professor of data journalism at the University of Pisa and has published over 60 scientific papers at national and international conferences and journals. And she is also the author of several books. Before we start, just as always, some practical remarks. We will first hear the presentation before we will have a Q&A session at the end. You can write comments and questions into the meeting chat at any time during the presentation, and then during the Q&A, we would encourage you to ask the question yourself. For that, we will enable the microphones and the video. Also, please note, do not change the spoken language for the transcript. That would be really helpful. And as always, this Global Network webinar is being recorded and will be made available on the Global Network of Data Officers and Statisticians at yammer.com/UNstats. So if you haven't joined the Global Network yet, we would invite you to follow that link in the chat and sign up. And now over to you, Angelica. The floor is all yours. Thanks so much.
Thank you for the introduction, and I'm going to share my screen again. Can you see it?
Yeah, looks good. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to everybody, wherever you are in the world. And I am today we will see how to redefine data storytelling with AI. This is my experience. I will tell you my experience as a researcher, and so I'm open also to discuss new opportunities, new ideas, which we could analyze in future. First of all, we will start with you. You are here because I assume that you work with data. You are, I assume that you are expert or practitioner in data mining and in data exploration and analysis. So I assume that you work with data and you are able to extract data from different sources and to analyze, explore them, to extract an insight. By insight, I mean something relevant, a discovery, a finding that your data communicate and your data has. And here, your objective with this specific webinar is to learn how to communicate data. And so this webinar won't focus on data mining and data exploration and analysis, but the focus will be specifically on data communication. You have, I assume that you already have an insight, some relevant that you have discovered from your data, you have extracted from your data, and you want to communicate it to an audience. In particular, there are different types of data communication. When you want to communicate data, you can use different techniques. First of all, you can use data reporting, which involves describe your data. Think, for example, about a PDF report which contains all your statistics, or you can think about a dashboard, an interactive dashboard, which contains different metrics, parameters, and so on. The second type of data communication is data presentation. Usually you organize your data into a presentation. For example, during a meeting, you want to communicate to your boss, to decision makers, to stakeholders, the results of your analysis. And finally, you have data storytelling, which involves making a story with data. When you think about story, you have to think about the concept of a story as you see in novels and also in films and so on, with the difference that in novels and in films, stories are fictional, are creative stories, while here you are building stories driven by your data. A specific subfield of data storytelling is data journalism, where data is something very fresh, helping you to build a news. When you so our focus in this webinar won't be on data reporting or data communication, but the focus is specifically on data storytelling. And data storytelling is exactly communicating the results of your data analysis process to an audience through a story. So I want to stress here that you have already analyzed your data. You have already extracted something helpful, something relevant, and you want to communicate it to an audience. So when you want to communicate, you want to do this communication, first of all, you should think about your audience. You always tell a story to an audience. And in general, there are different types of audiences, but we can group them into three main categories. First of all, we have the general public. The general public is the set of persons who don't know your topic, and so they need some additional information to understand your data. Then there are professionals. Professionals are technical people who exactly know the data, and they want to understand your data, and they want, for example, to learn why something happened in your data or what will happen in the future. And finally, there are executives that are usually people who make decisions based on your data. So when you want to build a story, you must consider the audience. And each type of audience has a different goal. the general public usually want to learn or be informed about something. In other cases, they want to be entertained with the story. Think about a data journalism article about, for example, the US political elections. The general public wants to be informed about the results of the elections. Or if you think about statistics about books, for example, how many books are read during the year and so on, they want to be entertained. The second category is professionals who usually want to understand why something happens, or as already I said, why something happened or will happen in the future. And finally, there are the executives who want to make a decision. Based on your audience, you should choose two things: an appropriate language and tone, which means the set of words, language, and the emotional expression conveyed through them, the tone, and also a specific context, which is the level of details to add to your story based on the cultural sensitivity of the audience. Obviously, if you are talking to Western people, their sensitivity, their experience is different from that of Eastern people, because the culture is different. And you can use this element to adapt the story to that type of audience to make your story more engaging. We have said that data storytelling is communicating the results of your data analysis process to an audience through a story. A story is exactly the concept that we know in the everyday world of a story. A story should have characters and a plot to be defined as a story. Regarding the characters, characters should be extracted from data. And in this webinar, we don't focus on these aspects, but you can always extract characters from data. But this is not the focus of this webinar. We will focus instead on the plot. The plot is exactly how the story evolves over the time. There are different types of story structures, but here we consider the simplest because in this case it helps to introduce the topic. The simple structure, story structure that you can build is the 3 acts structure. This structure is taken from the filmmaking world, novels, also novelists, filmmakers use this structure. If you look at the films, movies, they all have this structure, more or less organized and complicated, but this structure is this. And it starts with the context, which contains all the information necessary to prepare the understanding of the following part of the story. Be careful that the context is presented just once. So once you have set up your context, you won't tell it again during the story. So it should be clear from the beginning. The second part instead is, the main point. The main point is exactly the insight that you have discovered from your data. And finally, there is the final part, which is the next steps, which is which includes the call to action to your audience. What the audience, should the audience do after encountering your story. If you miss the next steps, the result is that the story doesn't have any impact because the audience don't know what to do after reading your story. Let's consider a simple example. This is a simple story, very short story, collapsed into a single graphic. I suggest to spread your story in different separate images. But if you don't have space, you can use a single image, as I did in this example. This example is related to the global temperature anomalies increase over the years. I have taken this data from the NOAA. This is a data set released under the Creative Commons license. And you can see in this story the three main elements. The main point, which is the insight that you have extracted from your data, and usually this main point represents your data. In some way, there is your data. And the most interesting aspect is that the main point does not depend on the audience. This is the main point is extracted from your data, and you can't modify it or adapt it to your audience. Otherwise, you are manipulating your data, or even worse, you are manipulating your audience. So the main point is extracted from the data and is that you can't change it. The second point is the context. The context, we have said, is the set of relevant information for a specific audience. In this example, the context is includes the title, a commentary, an annotation, an image. You can add different types of context, and you can adapt it on the audience. It depends on the audience because experts don't need the real details related at the given topic, while the general audience don't need the details, but they need a general overview of the topic. And instead, the professionals need relevant information, detailed information, how, for example, a metric is calculated. And finally, there are next steps. In this example, there is a very simple next step, which is a single sentence, a single text that invites, for example, a group of decision makers to do something practical. But in next steps, you can propose different strategies, different options, or learn more. For example, a link to a more detailed report to deepen the topic, and so on. And also next steps depend on the audience, because each audience have a different power of action. And you can't ask, for example, to general public to make a decision about a topic, because they don't have the power to act. And so you have to calibrate the next steps based on the audience. So far, we have seen some general basic concepts related to data storytelling. And now the million-dollar question is, how can AI help this process? Obviously, there are different ways to use AI in data storytelling. Here I suggested two strategies. The first one is to use AI to tailor the story to a specific audience. And this is what we will see in the remaining part of this webinar. But there are different other strategies. For example, you can use AI to evaluate the story quality. This is a very new topic that currently I'm studying, and it could be a great idea here to build a story and then ask the AI to evaluate if this story if the story is clear for a specific audience. For example, we could ask AI to assume a particular role as a particular audience role and see if the AI understands the story we have built. But at the moment, I'm studying this and I don't have specific results, but it's a possible idea. Instead, another possible strategy is to tailor the story to a specific audience. And this is what we will see next. Another possibility is to use AI to extract insight from data. We won't see this part because, as I said in the beginning of the webinar, I assume that you have already extracted an insight, and maybe this could be the focus of another webinar. I'm also studying these aspects. If you want more detail, maybe in the Q&A section, I could answer, but just to anticipate something, we could use here AI as a sort of supervised learning. We can apply to AI a sort of supervised learning to extract insights from a subset of data and then train AI on this data, and next to apply the results to the entire data set that we have. But this is another topic, and maybe we can discuss later if you want, or in a different place. We have I want just to remind that AI is a human assistant and not a human replacer. You can use AI in different ways, as a reviewer, as a creator, as an assistant, but in this webinar we will use it as an assistant because when you build a story and want to communicate it, you should be very careful about the results produced, because you have a story can drive change, and if you don't revise the content, the produced content, the result could be a wrong change, could produce wrong results. We have said before, I have said that based on your audience, you will choose an appropriate language and tone and context, and AI in this can help. In particular, in which parts of the story can we use AI? We have said that the main point doesn't depend on the audience, so we can't use AI in this part. We need to build our chart, we need to extract our insight in other ways, and we will use it. Instead, we can use AI to build context, to adapt context and next steps to our story. Regarding the context, we can use AI to tailor content to a specific audience and for a specific goal. Let's say how. We can consider, obviously, two types of context: the textual context, which is the text, and the visual context. Here in this part of the webinar, I won't focus on visual context, but in general, you can use AI to generate images to include in your story, tailored for a specific audience. Regarding the previous example, let's assume that we want to adapt this context, the title and the commentary for different types of audience. We will use ChatGPT for this, and but you can use also other tools, AI tools, if you prefer. But in this example, we will use ChatGPT. And the context, we will proceed as follows. Let's assume that we want to tailor the context for a general audience. Here is the prompt that we can write for ChatGPT. Act to inform. Inform is the objective of our story. So we write, act to inform a general audience, write a title and a commentary of 30 words. I've limited the number of words to generate about the following topic. Describe the concept of global temperature and how it's calculated yearly. Here we can write a title, a single title, or a single commentary. But in general, we can ask AI to generate 5, 10, 15 titles and commentaries, and then select the best ones or modify them. Here is a possible solution, possible result generated by ChatGPT. Understanding global temperature and its yearly calculation is the title, while the commentary, global temperature represents Earth's average surface temperature. Scientists calculate it annually using data from land and ocean sensors worldwide, averaging readings to track climate trends and global warming effects. As you can see, it's a very general title, a very general commentary, but it's focused for our general audience. We can improve this title and this commentary to include in the chart by providing additional details. For example, tailor the context for the general audience of Italians. Maybe we want to talk specifically to Italians and to extract something from their culture to make the story more engaging for that audience. And for example, we can say, act to inform a general audience of Italians, write a title and a commentary in English of 50 words. We have increased the number of words about the following topic. Describe the concept of global temperature and how it's calculated yearly. And here I have added using an example related to the Italian cuisine, for example. And here is the result. Understanding global temperature through Italian cuisine. Global temperature represents the Earth's average heat level calculated yearly from worldwide measurement. And here there is the creativity extracted from by AI. Imagine making a perfect Italian pizza. Balancing ingredients, temperature data from different regions ensures consistency. Similarly, scientists average global climate data to access changes, guiding actions against global warming, much like adjusting a recipe for perfection. Here, this is just for fun, this type of of context, but you can imagine how you can use the context. You can adapt the context based on the characteristics of your audience. The more you know your audience, the more you can produce. You can make AI generate focused context, textual or visual context. For example, for professionals, here the topic is the prompt is the same, except for, no, sorry, it's different. Act as to inform professionals, for example, experts in the environment domain. Write a title and a commentary of 30 words about the following topic. Describe how the global temperature anomaly is calculated yearly, detailing the formula. And here, the commentary is more precise. The title is Annual Calculation of Global Temperature Anomaly, Methodology and Formula, and the commentary is the global temperature anomaly is derived by comparing annual temperature averages to a baseline climatology, and so on, and then there is the specific formula value. And here, the point is that AI is your assistant, not your replacer, and you control the story, and AI helps you. You guide your horse. The AI is your horse, but you are guiding it wherever you want to go. You can also adapt next steps to the specific audience using the same process by, for example, if you want, and you can use AI to propose some possible ideas of calls to action. And in this way, you use AI as a friend, as a teammate who can help you to think about a specific next step, a possible next step to propose to your stakeholders, to your boss. The better you describe the insight you have discovered to the AI, the better the AI will propose a solution, a possible next step. For example, if you want to propose possible strategies for decision makers, here I talk generally decision makers, but you need to specify the specific profile of the decision makers you are working with. So the scenario is this. You have to describe firstly the insight that you have discovered. Global temperature have risen over 1.2 degrees since 1977, intensifying climate change. Suggest 4 possible strategies decision makers can follow to mitigate climate change. Here, decision makers is a very generic word, but if you have a specific word for your audience, here is the case to put, you can put here. And here you have some possible solutions. Accelerate renewable energy transition, implement carbon pricing, and so on. These are the solutions proposed by AI. You can engage AI with a conversation where you ask AI to deepen a specific topic, for example. And here, your objective is to go beyond your data and understand how you can move starting from your data. You can propose possible strategies for a general audience. In this case, the structure of the prompt is similar, but here the proposed solutions are different and are adapted to that specific audience. Reduce carbon footprint in daily life, support renewable energy and energy efficiency, and so on. Or you can, for example, propose possible strategies for people who don't believe in climate change. And in this case, the proposed solutions are more practical. For example, save money with energy efficiency, support local businesses and farmers. And so on. Here I have described a very generic types of audiences, but imagine if you have a specific audience profile, what AI can produce. The more precise you are in defining your audience, the more focused the results will be. But there is a problem in all this wonderful scenario that I have proposed. There is a problem. AI could hallucinate, or AI could generate biased content. And here, there are different solutions to this problem. The first one that I propose is to control results. As I have said before, you are controlling AI, and so you can decide what is correct and what is incorrect because you are driving the story and not the AI. But then there are also other possible technical solutions, such as the use of fine-tuning to fine-tune an AI model for specific content. For example, if you have reports and different data sets, you can use it to keep the AI focused on that specific data, or use retrieval augmented generation, but this requires more advanced programming skills, and maybe this is a further step. So my suggestion is to use AI as your augmented brain and not as your only brain. You have to, the control over AI is always yours, and don't trust the content produced automatically because it's not high quality content. Thank you for your attention. If you want, we can connect on LinkedIn, or we can discuss now if you have questions.
Thanks so much, Angelica, for this great presentation. I would like to open up now the floor for questions. And I will enable now the microphones and the cameras. If you want, you can unshare your screen, Angelica. So there were already a few questions and comments in the meeting chat. One was relating to basically the tool, the AI tool that you were using, whether there are alternatives to ChatGPT that people could use, because in some organizations ChatGPT is not allowed, but maybe this also, of course, then applies to other AI, generative AI tools. Maybe you can say a few things about that. Thanks.
Yes, there are different tools. Personally, I prefer ChatGPT, but I can understand that if it's not allowed, you should find another alternative. There are different tools such as Claude, Gemini, or if you are a programmer, for example, you can look at also at a Hugging Face, where there are pre-trained models specific on different environments or different domains, and you can build your model and use it, for example. Personally, I use ChatGPT because it's fast, and yes, it was the first, and I used it.
Yeah, thank you. So I have enabled now the microphones and the cameras. So if you have a question, please don't be too shy and just raise your hand so we can create a little bit more interactive atmosphere here. So I will give you a few seconds. Maybe someone wants to break the ice. Um,
There
yeah.
is a question, yes.
Yes, so I see a Lynn from VAU who has a question. Please come in.
Hi, Angelica. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your presentation. It was great. I have a question because I use a lot of AI, and sometimes when I want to build a story, it's difficult to link together different indicators, different metrics. So my question is if you have any suggestion to reduce or make a better storytelling or the way to ask to AI or ChatGPT, as you said, as the tool you're using, to improve how to interconnect these different indicators, these different data, in order to make a compiling story for decision maker. That's it. Thank you.
Yes, that's a great question. And I think that the solution is to see ChatGPT as an audience. And so you should define also for ChatGPT a context. And the first, when you start a new conversation with ChatGPT, first of all, you need to set up your context. And your context can be your data, if you have a sample. It can be your a report, a PDF file, or simply a description of what you have, or in your case, what your metrics represent. For example, if you have different KPIs, you can describe each of them, just the definition and how you calculate them in your data. In this way, ChatGPT understands the context. Where are you? What are you talking about? And then, as a second and next prompt in your conversation, ChatGPT will remember the context and will answer. Will provide better answers. So my suggestion is not only to focus on a single prompt, but to exploit all the conversation with ChatGPT, and the first prompt should be the context of your data.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much. So any other questions? I saw a hand up earlier, but it disappeared again. Yeah. So Fahad from GCC Stat, please come in.
Yes, thanks, Alex, and thank you, Angelica, for this presentation. I liked it, and also I liked the concepts at the beginning. Um, they are mind-opening. Thank you so much. Maybe the question was answered before. I mean, just right now, but I would ask it in another way. So let's say I have my insights as as a statistics, like I have a table or something. What do? I input it into ChatGPT, and then I give it a context. So how can I share my statistics with ChatGPT, for example? So that's the question
Yes.
before it tells me the story.
Okay, you can use different ways. You can provide ChatGPT with a sample data set, not all your data set, but you can upload, for example, a sample data set in ChatGPT and explain ChatGPT what the meaning of each column of your data set. because ChatGPT can't understand everything, can imagine, but sometimes it gives errors. Or another way is to not provide data at all, because maybe they want to keep the data private. In this case, you can describe to ChatGPT your data, the columns, the columns of your table, and the statistics you have calculated, and to make ChatGPT aware of your data. Okay.
Mm. Um, okay. Somehow I would see how it will happen. But also one of the things that you have talked about earlier to your presentation is reporting. One way of communicating your data is like doing a report about your data. Have you experienced this with ChatGPT? And if you have, what do you say about it? Is it good? Can it give us like one article about our data, and you find it that it is really good to be communicated, for example, to all the groups, or to all the groups, or to all the three groups? Have you experienced that?
At the moment, I'm studying the part regarding to reporting, because I have noticed that I've done some experiments with the environmental data, and ChatGPT can't answer to questions, to many questions correctly. Can't provide correct answers while extracting insights. I have also tried to perform retrieval augmented generation to improve data, the context, and so on. But I think that at the moment, ChatGPT is not the perfect tool for automatic reporting from my experience. And this is the motivation, and this is why I suggest you to use for communication, because it generates text, and text is usually used in communication. At the moment, it's not ready for automatic report building, because when you build a report, it should be perfect, it should be accurate at 100%, and you can't rely on a tool that is not perfect.
Okay, one last thing, if you don't mind. So,
Yeah.
from your experience, what do you think that is out there, and it is the most mature tool that we can use in these days?
I am also a programmer, and I don't use AI for statistics. I use Python, and yes. But now I'm also investigating Excel, which is a more user-friendly tool, and it's a very it can be it can do many things.
I
Although
mean, you using Copilot with Excel.
yes, I'm studying. Also, I'm studying also how to use ChatGPT and Excel, and this is also interesting. But my idea is also that AI is your increased brain, your augmented brain, and so you have to control the output. You can't make everything automatic.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Angelica.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I was also, I mean, experimenting a little bit with AI, using, for instance, Claude from Anthropic to analyze data. Basically, you can just copy and paste the data in it or load the file. And sometimes it does it right, but sometimes it even fails in basic things like counting, right? So how many lines were in the file and so on. So I would be very cautious with that. I see another hand here from Mira. Mira, maybe you can say where I see you working in resident coordinator office. Please come in.
Yes, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Myra from the Ghana Resident Coordinator's Office. So mine is just a quick question. I just wanted to find out where we could, a one-stop shop, where we could find information on all these AI tools and what they could be used for. Because I also know of AI tools that are very helpful for PowerPoint presentations that could help tell your or pass your message or tell the story better. So I was just wondering, because we keep hearing about new ones and several ones, but then I don't seem to know where to find all of that information, say, in one space. Thank you.
Yes, that's a great question, because I think there isn't a single space where you can, a single place where you can find all this information. But in this specific moment where everything is not mature yet, is still evolving, I suggest to check books where concepts are still evolving, but maybe they are well explained, or blog posts. But there also for ChatGPT for presentations. I agree that you can't find any specific material, but there is a great book recently published by Wiley. I don't remember the title, and this book explains how to use all the AI, and specifically Copilot, with all the Microsoft tools. Maybe if I can search for it later and share with the community.
Thank you. Any other questions? Please raise your hand. And I take this opportunity as well to just make a little bit more advertisement for the global network of data officers and statisticians. So we have recently relaunched a group on AI and machine learning on the global network. So maybe you check in there, you can also ask questions there, and then others can answer. So I think that will be also a very helpful way going forward. I see the hand of Irina. Irina, maybe you can say where you work and ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm representing the National Statistical Office of the Republic of Belarus, and I was wondering. Thank you. First of all, thank you for your wonderful presentation. It was very interesting, and a lot of interesting issues for me that I have noticed. And I was wondering, because I'm not using a paid version of ChatGPT. I'm just a beginner, so I was wondering if you used free or paid version for your presentation for those results. I mean, when you were setting the context for the ChatGPT and slides with possible strategies, which kind of version did you use, and whether the results differ from those that you represented in your presentation if we use a free version of ChatGPT? Thank you.
That's a very great question, because usually I use the paid version. And now I'm addicted to ChatGPT, unfortunately, and I also have generated all the images that you have seen in the slides with the ChatGPT. Firstly, in the past, I used the free version, and it has a limited period of time that indeed I haven't realized how it is calculated. And during this period, you can use the full version of ChatGPT, even in the free version. But when this period elapses, this time elapses, you downgrade the performances, downgrade until a new reset. But I don't know exactly how it works. Maybe if there is someone who knows.
Thanks so much. I see another question. Yeah, maybe if somebody has the answer to this, please put it in the chat, maybe. I see another hand up from Lorenzo De Simone, colleague from FAO. Please come in.
Good afternoon. My name is Lorenzo De Simone. I'm a technical advisor for geospatial data. So I work with the National Statistics Offices globally for the modernization of agricultural statistics using Earth observation data coupled with data from agricultural surveys and census. I wanted just to share that I've been using ChatGPT a bit to see if it could help me in analyzing some geospatial data for some reports. I was sharing specifically vector data, so in the form of tabular data. So we have the name of the geography, the administrative name, and then the variable. And I could see that if you explain well what you need and you give an example, then the ChatGPT is able to replicate that type of effort on other data set. But I agree with Alexander that sometimes it just fails even to count the lines. It just gives some random numbers, even the paid version. And my question for you, Angelica, and by the way, congratulations for your very enlightening presentation. I'm going to use your advices for a proposal to convince some donors. So my question for you is, have you used the voice version of ChatGPT, and how efficient it is to, let's say, provide the prompts using the voice and then getting a written output out of that? Thank you.
Yes, this is a very interesting thing. Using voice, for me, using voice is like a friend, because I use the ChatGPT voice option from my telephone app to enter into a discussion with the ChatGPT, and also to test my presentations. I also, for example, sometimes I ask ChatGPT to train my English, to help as an assistant for with my children, to help them to learn another foreign language. And for the transcription, it's not correct. It makes a lot of errors, and so it's not. I think it's not ready yet. But for a conversation is fantastic. Because maybe you can use also for ChatGPT for presentations. Before there was a question, you can use ChatGPT as a listener to your presentation, and then you can ask it to identify possible errors, possible ambiguities that are not clear. Also, for example, with your donors, Lorenzo, you can ask ChatGPT what are the weaknesses of my presentation, and how can I mitigate these problems.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much. So I see one more hand up. Lorenza, please come in.
Hello.
Let us know where you work. Thanks.
Yes, my name is Lorenza. I work for the RCO office in Serbia. It seems there's a lot of Lorenzas and Lorenzas here. I had a question specifically on earlier on, Angelica, you were explaining about the three-act structure. And if you can suggest how we can use also ChatGPT or other models in order to build that three-act structure in our presentations, if you have any suggestions on how we can learn more about that. Thank you.
Yes, that's. I'm currently investigating this topic, and the idea that I have developed so far is this: you can build on a paper sheet or somewhere a map mind of your presentation. And then you can, using the voice, you can read this map mind to ChatGPT, because if you simply take the photo, ChatGPT doesn't understand the everything. Instead, if you read it, ChatGPT understand exactly how you can your ideas. And then you can ask ChatGPT to structure your presentation in these three acts based on the content that you have. But this is a preliminary idea. You have to check it and maybe fine tune it based on your experience.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any more hands up at this moment, and we have come also to the end basically of our 1 hour time frame for our webinar. So maybe I can encourage the audience to turn on the camera for a second and maybe also your microphones, so we can give Angelica a big round of applause for this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks so
so much.
much. Thanks so much. I just want to point out once more that on the global network of data officers and statisticians, we have a lot of interesting conversations going on the topic of AI and machine learning. So maybe have a look there. And yeah, join us next time for our next global network webinar. And thanks to everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Angelica.
Angelica.
Thank you.
Merci
Thank you
beaucoup.
so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Alexander,
Bye.
will you share the PowerPoint?
Yes. So what we usually do is we post it actually on the global network. So you will find it there. And yeah.